What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? What's happening? The reason I'm not on camera is because this is just a quick impromptu live. I'm in the car. I'm on my way to physical therapy. It's funny because it seems like during this time off from work, I've been doing more things in an average day than I've ever done before. And it's not just a feeling, it's a fact. And the reason why is because if you take away the 8 hours of things that you have to do, it leaves you with time to do things that either you want to do or things that you need to do. Because I'm used to the whole 9 to 5 grind where it's like I'm stuck in this box for 8 hours and then I have to play catch up when I finish with work. So it's been a little bit of a different time. But anyways, the topics that I had was just a quick one, a quick impromptu one. This is nothing planned or anything. It's just kind of some unfiltered thoughts. I walked into the nursing home today, walked into my dad's room. I was like, "Hi, Dad, it's Mark. Do you know how this is?" He started kind of moving around a little bit, and I said, "How are you doing?" And he said, "Good." And I was like, "Can you say it again? How are you doing?" And he said, "Good." The second time he said it a little more faintly. The two words that he said to me, I think a week ago now, and the two words that he said to me today are the only four words that he has said since May of 2021. I think May or June of 2021 was the last time he said anything. And so I still remember clearly when he stopped speaking and when he stopped responding. We all thought that it was temporary because he did have temporary periods of time where this had happened to him before. And through speech therapy and occupational therapy and all that stuff, physical therapy, he was always able to regain some use of his body. He was able to regain some ability to speak. And we thought that this time would be no different. I thought that this time would be no different. So weeks go by, and then more weeks go by, then more weeks go by. And then they tell us he is no longer qualified to receive any of those therapies because his condition is not, it's basically terminal, and it's not one that is going to improve with any of those things. And that was an extremely hard thing to hear. So I'm still going to the nursing home. I'm still visiting him and everything, but it was a new experience for me going in and talking to him and not having him respond. Even if the responses were only at least having any kind of response, having any kind of response, just let me know. He hears me, he understands, he knows that I'm there. Hi, Nick. He knows that I'm there and I'm present and he's aware of who I am. That's one thing. If people would call me and ask me, how's he doing? Does he know who you are? I'm like, yeah. I go in there and I'm like, hey, Dad, do you know who this is? And he would always be like, of course, Mark, and even though he wasn't saying too much else, it was just nice to know that he was aware of my presence. He could recall my name, knows who I am, and all that. So when he stopped talking, it was really, really hard. It was the hardest time of this whole illness. It was the hardest time of this whole illness because I would go in there, hey, Dad, how's everything going? He wouldn't even make eye contact with me. Matter of fact, half the time he was asleep. He wasn't even awake. So I'm just in there. It feels like I'm talking to myself. It feels like he's not there. It feels like he has no recognition of who I am. So at that point in time, I was really sad. It's still a sad thing, don't get me wrong. But at that specific point in time, I was extremely sad. And what I decided to do was to, instead of kind of dwelling and moping about the condition he's in now and how he got there and what that means, I decided to just go in there and bring my music. So that's what I have been doing for months. Talk to them a little bit and bring my ukulele and bring my speaker. And at this point in time, the nursing he was in, the hospital he's in, and the current hospital that he's in now, they all know me when I come in there. And they're like, oh, are you going to do some songs today? Like, I'm very well known in those places at this point. And when I put the title as, hospital nursing home revelations, I don't do well with hospitals. I don't do well with nursing homes. So when my dad got ill and he was placed in these places, I didn't even want to go. Not because of him or anything, but just because it drains my spirit to spend time in those places. One day, even like a couple of hours, drains my spirit to a point where I just don't want to go. I know some people, I know that sounds like an obvious thing, but I do know people who, there are people who go to hospitals and pray with people and sing with people and they do that kind of thing. That has never been me, but it has become me over the last couple of years because of having to go to these places so often out of necessity. Not just for him, there was other family and friends that I've had to be visiting during this time. And my grandmother had a stroke right after my dad's first stroke in 2019. And I remember I was like, okay, I was going to go visit her. And I didn't know what to do because I'm not the person who always can come up with the best words and the best things to say in those situations. So what I did was I went over to her and I brought my ukulele. I played for her and I sang. And she loved it. And when I came home, she gave me a call. And my grandmother told me, this is your ministry. She was like, don't ever stop doing this. She said, you don't know how happy you made me when you came in here and you brought this music and you sang for me and you sang with me and talked to me and all that. It made me so happy. It made me feel loved and cared about. And, it's a part of the reason why I was able to recover from the stroke that she felt. So after months and months and months and months and months of talking to my dad, playing for my dad, it was, to me, a miracle that one day I walk in and I say, how are you doing, Dad? And he responds, and now that's two times. Now there's two times. Today he responded. The last time I was telling my mom, the last time that he responded to me, I said, are you doing good? And then he said good. So I kind of, even though it was still miraculous that he said anything, I gave him the word and he kind of repeated the word. This time I walked in and I said, how are you doing? And he said, good. So can you imagine going to see somebody for like 8 months, for like 8 months, and they say nothing to you? They hardly even look in your direction. And then all of a sudden they start talking, even if it's just one word or two words. To me, that says he heard me all that time. And it was just what I needed. I'm not unrealistic and think that we're gonna start having, a big dialogue or anything like that. But it was just what I needed because it was like sometimes as a caregiver or as somebody who is giving visits to somebody who's in that type of condition, you say to yourself, is what I'm doing making an impact? And you're not always going to get like a verbal, response from the person in that type of position. But I feel like I needed it. I didn't realize I needed it until I got it because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go in here and talk to them and sing with them until the end. But to get a response was like, I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right. He feels me. He hears me. We're praying for your dad. I'm sure he can feel your presence. I don't know anyone who plays the ukulele. Your dad probably enjoys it. Whether he shows it. That's comforting that they can hear you. Sorry, y'all. My YouTube is playing for some reason. Okay, I think I cut it off. My YouTube started. I got a call and then started playing for some reason. Anyways, yeah, it was just what I needed. It was a sign from God that keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Um, it's something that probably helps whatever part of his brain is able to function and process what's going on. It's just something that helps him know that I'm there. So those are just some of my thoughts, and I know that I'm not the only one who has gone through something like this or is going through something like this. You have to be such a well of positivity in order to constantly keep dealing with something like this. Hi, Janet. How are you? You have to be a constant well of positivity. So, if you guys ever wonder why you'll throw me a topic or say, can you talk about this or discuss that or respond to this person or talk to this, and I'm not willing to do it, that's a huge part of the reason why. You don't realize what a big part of my life it has become now, making these nursing home and hospital visits. It's hard. It's hard to do that. So protecting the energy becomes crucial. Protecting the energy becomes crucial. I'm doing fine. I was just talking to everybody about I was in the nursing home a couple hours ago and my dad spoke to me again for the second time Oh, but and I was gonna say he responds to me. He responds well to me. It's been that way since he's been sick. He responds well to me. And when I say he responds well, I mean I feel like when he hears my voice, he perks up. You know, there was this one time when we came in for 2 weeks straight. He was sleeping for 2 weeks straight. We never saw him awake. And then I walked in one day. I said, "Hi, Dad. How are you?" And he opened up his eyes real wide, and I had to take a picture. Then my mom, like, he woke up when I called him. So it's just like little signs that you see that let you know that you've made an impact on somebody's life and are making an impact on somebody's life. And whatever life you've got left, I have been making an impact on that. When he was still able to speak, he used to tell me, ah, like, thank you, son, for all that you're doing for the good thing, son. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. He used to tell me that, and those are not things that he would tell me prior to being sick. Those are things that he started to tell me after he got sick. So it was nice to hear. I know that he still has some kind of recognition of when I come in there and play my music for him. Actually, it's something that I would like to be able to do somehow. I've seen people do it, but it's something I would like to do as a side job one of these days. Being able to go into the patient's rooms and give them some words of encouragement, sing to them, because I really enjoy doing that. I've even played for several of the residents in that particular facility, which has been nice, to play for people who can also, sing with me, and they tell me it reminds them of certain times. Yes, that is blessed to have you. I'm sure blessed to have him still with you too. Absolutely. I'll tell you guys, in I want to say September, late September of last year, the doctors told us that he had days to live, days to live. That's what they told us in September. And October, November, December, January. We're here in January. He's still here. He's still here. So he's defied odds more than a few times. He has defied the odds. Sadly, they don't get many visitors. My dad was in a nursing home during the shutdown and they wouldn't let me in. They have eased, I'm sorry to hear that, first of all. Here, they have eased the restrictions a little. They still have them, but they have eased them a little. It used to be, there was a point in time where my dad was only, my mom was the only one who was able to physically visit my dad. And she had to wear like the hazmat suit to be able to go in. So I only saw him via video during that time. But what's sad though, Nikki, is that people who are in those facilities during this time period, man, they don't get the same level of care as pre-COVID. That's the sad thing. There's less staff. Um, there's more patients, and sadly, like when the family is not in there to be able to watch them and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, the care is less, to be honest with you. As you probably already know, the care is not the same when you're not able to monitor what is happening in the facility. And they always do more when they physically see and hear you in there and know that that patient has a family who's checking on them and checking for them. Yep, I agree with that as well, Shai. God has the last word. God knows when somebody's time is going to be. Nobody else can tell you that. They can make their guesses, tell you what the science it tells you, but only God knows. But anyways, y'all, I have reached my destination. Let's see here. I've reached my destination, but I will be back at 10 p.m. tonight. Myself and a couple of others, we're going to be covering the circle. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to covering the circle and talking about that. And thanks for listening. Talk to y'all later.